Good morning, everybody. 30th of November 2024. It's a little bit before 10 o'clock in the morning, and this marks like 4 days. That I have made videos, 4 in a row. And yesterday, well, I just put one up this morning. It was the same one I put up yesterday. It's for some reason, and I don't even understand why, YouTube took my video down. I don't have any idea. You know, maybe they thought I wouldn't notice, but I put it up again, and I think, when did I look? Maybe half an hour ago, it was still there. Maybe I talked about too many delicate things. So where am I? Look at this. This is blocked off because they're still building on this, and it's wow. Look at I don't know. Is that already behind it? No. Look at what they're going to be putting behind. So it's going to be a church complex, of course. This is Orthodox, as you see by the cross, and otherwise there's not that much to see in this area, and unless you like metro entrance, exits, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And yes, there's still some garbage a little bit. See, I told you. There's some bags sitting right there. This will all be, I don't know, it might be gone today. It's a weekend. I don't know if these people that are commissioned to do this stuff are working on weekends. So, but here's something here, maybe some, I wouldn't even know. Is that a garbage or something? You know, they have a little garbage thing right over there by the metro entrance. I don't know why people would put their garbage here unless it's some kind of birds. You know, there's these birds like crows that do that. So let's talk about some news. A lot of you don't want to hear this chatter. Actually, I'm here because I have to go to this place. I'll chatter a little bit more. Get some copies made. That's a big shopping center there. And this selfie stick, something wrong with it. I just got this and it's all weak. It's wobbling around. Pay money for something, you got to throw it away. Okay, some of the news that mostly it came out yesterday, and it's I was talking yesterday about Syria and what's going on there. Apparently, you get some mixed reports that these rebels, U.S. and Israeli-backed rebels, and we all know that that's who's backing them. These people do not. They need food. Somebody's got to be paying them, and they're doing it for money. And a lot of these rebels are not from Syria. They're not even from anywhere close in that area. A lot of them are from places like Uzbekistan and all that. And obviously Ukraine is involved in that too. So it's a little bit to go after Russia, because Russia, you know, is friends with Bashar al-Assad. And as you know, the big overall goal, I didn't talk about that yesterday, but the big overall goal is to get a lot of it. There's a lot of oil and natural gas, mostly in the Golan Heights, and Israel thinks it's theirs. So what happened was the Israeli government had signed, I guess it was a lease to Genie Petroleum or Genie Oil, and I guess it's the mineral rights of all of that in that area in the Golan Heights, which is doesn't even belong to Israel, but I believe Donald Trump said he recognizes that as part of Israel. So that's not going to help Syria too much, but it's really strange because Donald Trump was trying to take the troops out of Syria, but yet it just doesn't make that much sense. So anyway, the whole thing is to ship that natural gas through there, and of course that would have hurt Russia's stance, because Russia was sending gas and oil to Europe, and part of the idea, of course, was to make a lot of money for, you know, the rich people. The Rothschilds are involved in that, and the Murdochs, Rupert Murdoch family, and other people. A lot of very rich people are part of this Genie Petroleum. You can look it up online. I bet it's still there, and they probably go under different names: Genie Oil, Genie Petroleum, whatever. And you can find, if you really do your research, that it's a lot of this has to do with Syria. I think I'll take this other route. Walk through the grass here. I wish I was a caterpillar walking through the grass. I'd climb up in the highest trees and slide down on my hands and knees. So, okay, Genie Petroleum. But anyway, there's a lot more things there. And, there was oil in Syria. The U.S. is, of course, capitalizing on that. Oh, there's a lot of things. And the U.S., of course, runs terrorist bases through there near Al-Tanf. And I think there was a few places the United States had military there. And it's still unclear. I've been reading things that Turkey is assisting Syria and Russia, and then I've seen other things that they're assisting these rebels. And anyway, they're trying to, I guess, get Aleppo again. And this province, it's right near Aleppo. I guess it's a little bit south. Is Idlib, and Idlib is, I think Syria never got real control, complete control over that. And so probably the U.S. runs that, That's going to be interesting when Tulsi Gabbard gets in there, and if she's going to want to, and if she's going to be able to stop a lot of these dirty dealings. If these things are going covert, the U.S. capitalizes in money. But of course, when it becomes not covert, everybody knows about it and knows, what the CIA is all about and all that. So, but that wasn't mainly what I was going to talk about. Just a little bit about Syria, and then there's in Georgia. They're really going after that in Georgia. They got these agent provocateurs, as I mentioned yesterday, but it's getting even rougher, and they have to get out the cannons. And this time, of course, like I said yesterday, the spark was that the government is suspending until 2029, I believe, a session into the European Union. And if you hear the leadership talk, it's not like they're doing it for any kind of a hate or anything, or that it's not even that they don't want to go into the European Union, but they want to be free and be friends with Russia as well. It's just like Syria. I mean, when I'm saying Slovakia and Hungary. But as you all know, this coalition, which is mostly, of course, the United States, they demand you must hate Russia. You must welcome LGBT and you must hate Russia. That is the entire thing. You could just call it the Hate Russia Club. And you might as well wonder, well, was Bandera, was he from the United States or was he from Ukraine? But anyway, it's a sickness, and it's, of course, maybe it was infected, by the U.S. always in the past, when you remember the Cold War. But it's very strange that thing has been holding out. I guess what it really amounts to is they're afraid of Russia and they want to get the resources. Same as Germany for centuries, as George Galloway said. I mentioned that in one video. You can find it where he's saying that they've hated to a certain extent. Well, it's like hate and just dislike, kind of switching a little bit back and forth. It's been that way for centuries against Europe. And I mentioned in a video, I remember reading in history, and it was like surprising, and so I never forgot it. That first European empire, which was called the Holy Roman Empire, and it was after the Roman Empire and established by, after the days of Charlemagne, or during the days of Charlemagne. And I guess one of the capitals was in Aachen, Germany at that time. There's even the palace of Charlemagne there, if you want to see that. And I think the French name is Aix-la-Chapelle or something. But yeah, it's a very interesting place. And I guess if you look at the time that it was built, to be considered, I think, when was it, like, I don't know if it was like the year 800, but it's like quite an accomplishment to have built such a, so to speak, little palace at that time. And even before that time, you have this hall in Trier, Germany, which was at one time the capital of the Roman Empire, not Rome, and not Constantinople, and not Ravenna, which were all capitals of the Roman Empire, but at one time it was Trier, Germany. There's even the Porta Nigra. You can look that up. It's called the Black Gate, and matter of fact, right near the Porta Nigra is a house, and if you look out the window of that house, you see the Porta Nigra, and that house was where Karl Marx was born. That's just some trivia. Okay, anyway, get back to some other parts here of what we're trying to talk about. Yes, well, they're trying to get Georgia, and that's mostly to get a two-front war against Russia, and it looks like they're not giving up on that one. I guess it's a long time goal, and if you you can even you can even, like I was just saying, you can even go back thousands of years, and the whole goal is to enact a strategic defeat, bring Russia to its knees, mostly, because they're afraid of Russia is on one side, they want Russia's resources on the other side, and and they just want to dominate, of course, the West and a lot of these powers. It's in their head. I guess it's in their genetics. So, what a kind of ugly building. Looks like during the Khrushchev times, I guess. Let's walk up here. It's like some tennis courts, basketball court, whatever. Anyway, what else do we have here? Oh, Moldova. You got to talk about Moldova. It seems like they've got Moldova, and a lot of the people, most of the people, I guess, if you say the majority of the Moldovans, they did not want to be part of this European Union, but they cheated on the vote. They, like I said, what do they say? What's the word? Well, there was a lot of voters, like a lot of them lived in, because it's such a terrible country, it's terrible times there, poor and all that. It's nothing like Belarus, where I'm at right now. Moldova, I don't know, that's maybe what Donald Trump would call an S-hole country. I don't know, maybe it's better now, but a few years ago, pretty run down. Infrastructure, everything crumbling to a large extent. So a lot of people moved out. A lot of them moved to Russia, and so there's a lot of them in Russia. But they made sure during this last vote that those people could not vote, really. So, but they had huge opportunity for all the people all over Europe to vote, but not in Russia. They made sure, Russia is much bigger than Europe, and they only had 2 places where people can vote, I believe, and and there's much more of them living in Russia. So making sure that they can't get the vote out. So, and supposedly the win was very narrow, and that was just one form of cheating. So there's other ways that they cheated as well. But anyhow, so another big piece of news is, and this is going to happen very soon. Germany, Alice Weidel from the Alternative for Deutschland party, the AfD, she has proposed, it's sort of a new constitution for Germany, and it's quite startling, and quite startling. It's more, to get out of the European Union for the most part, and it's not so bad when you read it. You have to look that one up. I'm not even sure of all the provisions of it, but a lot of it was getting out of Europe was to me the main part of it. And I don't know about how it's said about immigration, but they call them the far right party. And Alice Weidel herself, she's one of the leaders, maybe I guess now the big leader, because she's probably the one that's going to be standing for the vote to become Chancellor of Germany when this vote comes about, I think sometime in January. And you look at, I think there's 5 people going. Habeck is going for the Greens party, which fat chance of that. I don't know about Christian Lindner going for the FDP. They're really not super bad. Christian Lindner is not so bad, but FDP only gets 5% normally, barely all the time, if that. So that's very odd. And who else did I say? I said Habeck, I said Lindner, and of course there's Sarah Wagenknecht. She's going to get a percentage of the vote. She'd probably get over 5%. She used to be part of the Die Linke, the left party, and strange that a lot of what she stands for is very similar to what they call the far right party. So, but she will not form a coalition apparently with the far right party. I don't quite understand all that. A lot of time you have to suck things up a little bit to make some positive changes. I think they would be good together, to be honest with you, but that's them. And the worst one, of course, in my opinion, which is the most popular party, which is the CDU, the CSU, CDU/CSU, and CSU is mostly the Christian Democratic Party. Maybe they call it the Christian Democratic Union, but that's mostly centered in Bavaria. They call it the CDU in Bavaria. The CSU, and it's the CDU in the rest of Germany. And they're the biggest, they have the most approval at the moment. So, but not necessarily Merz. I forgot his first name, but he's the guy running for Chancellor of Germany. And he is a guy that he wants to really go after Russia. He wants to pump Ukraine full of weapons and maybe even enter the war. He's a real warmonger. You know, you got a lot of those around, you know, not just Nikki Haley like I talked about yesterday, but geez, these are people, you know, they love blood. They love the blood and the guts, as long as it's not their blood and their guts, but they like to see everybody else's blood and guts spilled, particularly Ukrainians, of course. And that's something I should actually emphasize much more, is what they really love. They love watching the Ukrainians die. They hate Slavic people in general, and that was a point I just made just a few minutes ago. They hate the Slavic people, and they act as if Ukraine is their friends. They want Ukrainians to think that, but they hate the Ukrainians and they want to get them all killed off. And if Ukraine were to be successful in defeating Russia, which is a very big fat chance of that, probably nearly impossible. Maybe it is impossible, but then of course they would turn against the Ukrainians and of course go against them as well as much as they can and of course they've even made it in the open that they're going to rape Ukraine. That the whole idea is, if the war is over, they're going to go in and they're going to rape Ukraine. They're going to try to steal all their resources, you know, do what they did in Africa, give them pennies on the dollar for the value of the products that they're, or the resources that they're stealing out of there. I guess that's mercantilism to a certain extent. But I think mercantilism, I guess what that means is you go in and you take the raw products, you turn it into something of value. Maybe you can call it an old-time value-added situation, and then they ship it back and get big profits on the finished products which they send. That was the main reason for the United States Revolution, was, believe it or not, was the Stamp Act. And what the Stamp Act did in the United States Revolution, it was the colonies, American colonies, were not allowed to make their own paper. So what would have to happen, because you know, the King George and all those people over there in England, they wanted the money for it. Let's just try the truck would hurry up and go. So they wanted the money for it. So what would have to happen, you'd send the wood to Great Britain, they would make paper out of it and send it back and charge the colonies at a profit. And I believe it had to be proven, so they have to have a stamp on the paper saying that it was made in England. At least that's how I understood it, if I can remember properly from my history. So all these little tidbits. Hope you guys like it. Sorry, it makes the videos a little bit longer, but it's little interesting facts, fun anyway. Things I know. You guys all know things too. You know, I don't have a monopoly on Trivia Pursuit or something like that. So anyway, yes, like I said, Sarah-Vaughan Connect. I guess they call it the Sarah-Vaughan Connect Union, as well as the FDP. They want out of the European Union, you know, obviously, and I would too, you know, very corrupt, very, very corrupt. Look at Ursula von der Leyen. I mean, boy. She used to be the, the defense minister of Germany, and then after that they put another woman in charge. She didn't stay there that long, I can't remember her name, and she resigned, but Ursula von der Leyen made a real mess out of the British military. That's probably when she started, you know, Ursula von der Leyen, she's there for herself. I guess she made millions and millions. You know, you guys, I think there's even books written about it. You got to look up Ursula von der Leyen and Pfizer, and I don't know, what did they have? Over 1 billion vaccines, over 1 billion vaccines that definitely were not even going to be used. It was just made to get money, and a lot of corrupt people in the European Union. It is a union of corruption more than anything else. There's some very good people in there, of course, and you know, you got the bad ones like Ursula, and they, you know, engineer ways, you know, through their consensus of all the evil ones getting together, and they destroy the ones that are good. That's how it works. That's democracy. In effect, that is democracy, to be honest with you. The majority, even if they're evil and corrupt, they get rid of the ones that are good. Democracy in action, you know? So it's not perfect after all, is it, democracy? And let's see. Oh, I'll tell you a little bit about Alice Weidel. She, believe it or not, she's lesbian. She's a woman, and her partner is a woman from Switzerland, and she's lived in Switzerland, I guess, for a while. She lived in China for quite some time. She speaks fluent Mandarin, or near fluent Mandarin Chinese. I've heard. I don't know, but I don't know. It doesn't mean she's going to be buddies with China or enemies. Doesn't mean anything at all. So it's like, I don't know. Well, that's about enough about that anyway. So now, some of the big news. This is really incredible. I saw this interview with Zelensky, and who knows if he was on something. You know, he's itching his nose a lot, you know, so, you know, he does that a lot of time, and he just can't prevent that. But him and Boris, maybe, I don't know, Boris, maybe he can restrain himself. Here, I'm going by a garbage over here again. I have to stop doing this. Little park in this area. Lots of parks, as you see in Minsk. But anyway, Zelensky gave this interview. It was just incredible. It's incredible. It's not like Zelensky is stupid, but he thinks everybody else is stupid. So I guess in this interview, he was saying that he would consent to Russia, you know, at least for a ceasefire, for Russia to temporarily, he said, hold those territories. And, but just temporarily, he said, but also, I think part of this deal, it's like it's another one of his piss plans, you know, piss plans. Oh, that's right. I said yesterday that what's her name is filled with spit and vinegar. Nikki Haley, but I guess the real term is piss and vinegar. So I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with Zelensky too and his piss plan. I don't know. So this piss plan, I don't know. Is it a piss plan? Well, anyway, he said he would consent to Russia temporarily. What he meant by temporarily is this is where the catch comes in. It's the whole reason for the war in the first place. It's incredible. It's incredible. He said that there will be like a zone, maybe a buffer zone. You know, a lot of people are saying this was Trump's plan. I don't know. I hadn't heard anything from Trump since then. Maybe that was a lie, even though there's people that are very close to Trump saying, yeah, that was like his plan. But anyway, it's sort of like a buffer zone, and he said NATO troops will be in that buffer zone, and that's the whole reason for the whole war is you know, is Russia's security. So what this is Russia again not getting any security, and I don't know if I think he said this yesterday, Zelensky. So I don't know if there's been any comment on that from the Kremlin yet, or from from Moscow. But it's like I don't even know if they're thinking that's even worth commenting about. So what it basically is the whole reason for the war is it's like I can't even, I'm even speechless, because Russia didn't want NATO in Ukraine, and Zelensky says part of this plan is to put NATO in Ukraine, on Russia's border. I'm sure Russia's going to really like that. It's just incredible. It's really incredible that anybody would come up with something like this. So, what else? Was there? Let me see if I have anything on these notes here. Temporarily. I don't know. I don't want to read all this stuff. I take too many notes. Most of the time, my memory serves me pretty good for a lot of this stuff. So, oh yeah, that's part of it too. But at some time, besides all this, besides NATO being on Russia's border, and then that's another funny part. And then the solution, the real ending solution, would have to be between Russia and NATO, for maybe the status of that area. So it's like, as you know, NATO's very well known for their negotiating skills, which don't exist in any way, shape, or form at all, unless it's at the barrel of a gun or something, or at the tip of a bomb, So that would be the negotiation, is to try to bomb Russia into submission, is what it is. And just the fact that Zelensky says temporarily have those lands means the whole intention, and he even admits it, is that he wants it all back, But he's trying to make some kind of a little game out of it, and it's very similar to what Netanyahu just said a day or two ago. That his whole intention for a ceasefire is to make a much, much bigger war, much more bigger and intense war. And he said that the people of Israel have to be ready for that. So I don't know how much time he's going to need, and it's just maybe it just depends on how fast the United States can get bombs to them. And that's another indication. I guess it was put out by Russia that they have indications and evidence, and they have some pretty good spies in the States and everywhere. Like I said, they gather in intelligence. They don't have sabotage departments like the United States does. So anyway, so they're gathering in intelligence, and they said the United States has really vamped up. In particular, I believe it was their nuclear goals. That they're really putting a lot into nuclear bombs now. They're revitalizing it. I guess because it has been very poor since the ending of the Cold War, and Russia and a lot of other countries, as you know, as the United States, because they love to force everybody at the barrel of a gun and at the tip of a bomb to do anything that they want to do. They use everything. They use finance, and they use bombs. They use everything to get everybody to do exactly what they want them to do. They even do it with their citizens. That's one thing I really didn't like about the United States. You do what we tell you to, or else. Oh, look at this. Whoa. Is that Estonia? I don't know if that's Estonia or if that's Latvia. It's a Chihuahua. Oh, he means business. She means business. It means business. So I gotta get out of here. Doesn't like me talking about the U.S. that way, and the U.S. Satellites, I guess. It's probably friendly. Hey! Hey! Well, I'm too big, I guess. Didn't want to come over. Well, what else we have here? Ceasefire. Okay. Yes, but well, I was going to mention, that the very truth of the definition of the word fascism is actually what's going on in Ukraine, and I mentioned before, this book written by Aaron Rousseau. There's other books written, of course, about the United States in real truth being a fascist country. The United States, and it's an undeniable fact if you use the old definitions of fascism, the United States is in every sense a fascist country. That is real fascism, because they have and it's been that way for quite some time. It was turning that way. Like I said, if you read the works of Smedley Butler, War is a Racket, and if you know the definition, I've said it many times, but I'll say this for new people maybe that are watching this video, as the creator, for the most part, of the first one putting fascism into practice was Mussolini in 1919 when he founded the Fascist Party of Italy. But he's a socialist, and he always was a socialist his whole life, even as he's a fascist. But wait, fascism is far right, socialism is far left, so, figure that one out. Anyway, fascism, as he said, is the marriage of corporate money to government power, and, well, how do you best define that? Well, just look at the United States. You look up the word fascism, there's a picture of the United States there, the system as it is now, and as Smedley Butler talked about it, and Smedley Butler is not just some Yahoo guy. For some reason, maybe it was like Bob Marley or Lucky Dube, which is also maybe even the best reggae artist. Unfortunately, black people, how they like to somehow get rid of black people, I don't even understand that. CIA or intelligence services, I don't know. What do they have against these a lot of these are very good people. Lucky Dube, fantastic human being, fantastic, and I don't know who knocked him off, but look up some of his songs. Like there's one called Remember Me by Lucky Dube, last name spelled D-U-B-E, and there's the live version. Fantastic, really fantastic. That's probably most of you have never heard of Lucky Dube. Fabulous. From South Africa. Okay, beyond that, but what was I saying? How did I get into this? Onto another tangent of, look at, somebody's picking up the garbage. See, I told you. You can see this in action. Maybe I can never show this in another video. Even cigarette butts. Look at that. And it probably doesn't pay that well, but maybe a few times a week. I have no idea how that works. I've even thought about doing that myself, for extra money. We still have some savings. If I sell my land in the Caribbean, I don't really have to work anymore. I mean, it's not like I'm rich, but I don't have to work if I just budget the money, because it's not like I'm going to live to be 120 or something. I could stretch it out. You know, things are cheaper over here in Belarus, and you know, I would need some small income, you know, partly for security reasons, to feel like, okay, well, I'm doing something, I'm getting some money coming in, because it's a terrible feeling when your money's going out, nothing's coming in, you know. I've been living like that for quite some time anyway, but anyway, forget this. Anyway, where else? Okay, we talked about Netanyahu. You know, I don't know if he's going to get married to Nikki Haley or not. You know, they'd be a perfect couple, but he'd have to divorce his wife. I'm sure he doesn't care about that. A lot of these people don't care about anybody. Maybe they care about their wife and their kids, I don't know, but they don't care about their countries or their people. You know, you look at Zelensky, you know, all those people dying, but it's a sacrifice he's willing to make. So we have to, I don't know, I don't want to use the word thank him. So we have to recognize the fact that all those dead Ukrainians, you know, and more, and he wants to keep this going for a long time, is a sacrifice that he's willing to make. And wait till Lindsey Graham and all those people have their way with the American people, you know, but it's not good for votes. America's system's a little bit different, you know, Ukraine's system. So much for democracy in that area. You know, they voted for Zelensky, and I think they actually really did. He had a very good platform when he ran, but apparently he turned 180 degrees. A little bit similar to George Bush. He turned 180 degrees from what he was promising when he was running for president too. You know, kinder, gentler America, or is that what his father said? I don't know. Yes, but I don't know. That's mostly all I wanted to say, is this sort of thing. But I don't know. We all have to, and anything that I'm saying or anything that anybody else is saying, you know, we're just looking at maybe what's going on in the world, and a lot of this is just predictions of what's going to happen, possibly, because you just follow these trends, and this is how these people act. And you know, you could be wrong, but whenever something does happen, it's like, oh yeah, well, that's expected, you know. I sort of figured they might do that, but sometimes they get even worse, like the United States. It makes you wonder, why are they still escalating? Why are they still escalating? And you know, they had a meeting, and a NATO meeting, what was it, days ago, and of course, what they were talking about is how to escalate more. How, in what way should they escalate against Russia? It's like, what the friggin' crap? You know, they don't want to give up. They don't want to give up what they, you know, all their investments, you know, the Black Rock and Cargill, Rosemont Seneca, and many, many more. I'm not going to say, well, Monsanto has investments in Ukraine, but there's probably a few hundred companies, and there's even a lot of Ukrainians. They have a lot of money into that too. And a lot of the country is already sold off, and you know, but it's a sacrifice that Zelensky's willing to make. And Zelensky, he's probably just a puppet figure anyway. Makes you wonder who's running him. And I'm thinking maybe somebody that keeps an eye on him might be Podolyak. So you have to wonder, you know, you see how Podolyak talks, and a lot of times these people are lying. They're very, you know, they lie a lot, and sometimes you have to appreciate, that's a terrible word, but you have to maybe take note of some of these people like Hillary Clinton, when sometimes she does come out and tell the truth. John Bolton, a lot of these people, you know. And then we're looking at this, who's this guy, Kellogg, that Trump chose for Department of, what department? Department of Defense. And then Rubio, Marco Rubio, and Tulsi Gabbard said that's a very bad mistake. Now she's in the administration. Who knows? She's probably got to, you know, keep her mouth shut too now. I don't know. Tulsi Gabbard's one of the very few people with that's a real human being in there. And even maybe sometimes if she says something, it's possibly she has to say it. But I don't know if she ever did, like about Israel. Because if you do not support Israel, you have no future in politics. Because they, it's incredible how they have the system going, you know. They give billions of dollars to Israel. Israel sends most of it back to buy politicians and to buy influence. And it's like, well, why in the friggin' crap do they do that? Why, you know? So you talk about the deep state. So who's really entwined deeply in the deep state? but yet they're able to make it, make it look like they're their own section of corruption and not just the deep state. You know, there's some people that actually have this this stuff pretty well. Hi. Have this stuff pretty well figured out, and I don't know, but I don't have time to read all these books. Guys, you guys want to put some suggestions for anybody else who wants to read books on some of these people that have figured this whole thing out, and they might have some information, some facts on who's doing what to who and at what times, and having some evidence, if possible, about that. That's great. Oh, somebody talk about that. Somebody, I think maybe a new subscriber, and I was mentioning the protocols of the elders of Zion, and he knew quite a bit about that too. It was really fascinating stuff, and I it's like wow, I want to write it down and do my own sort of research on that, but I'm doing Russian right now, and I'm already distracted by so many things. And I've tried to make this video to cure a little bit of my what do you call it? My being distracted from the news all the time, and get it off my chest, so to speak. Thinking there's some sort of an outlet from all this stuff that bothers me about what's going on in the world. I don't know. But that's just me. It's okay. That's about it. How long is this video? Oh, a little longer than yesterday. Well, thanks for joining me. I don't know if I'm going to make another video tomorrow. I really got to study. I got a test on Monday. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, people.